Pray for peace and for the conversion of everyone is the call of Monsignor Pizzaballa following the wave of violence in Gaza after the move of the US Embassy to Jerusalem. The personal parish will come into force on the 20th of May, an attempt to respond to the spiritual and social needs of migrants and asylum seekers. On the World Day for Social Communications, Pope Francis has chosen the theme, "The Truth Will Set You Free, Fake News and a Journalism of Peace," a topic of interest also here in the Holy Land. The project was started in Italy in 2009 and is managed by women of various religions committed to the promotion of unity and prayer for peace in the world. The works of the artist combine a range of techniques from pencil to digital and portray a unique image of the Holy City and its changes throughout the years. A week of deep contrasts has shaken the Holy Land as the representatives of the Israeli government celebrated the move of the US Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in the presence of supporters and delegations coming from a range of countries. The border with the Gaza Strip was home to violent clashes.
Purtroppo è un ennesimo episodio di un lungo percorso di...
Unfortunately, this is yet another episode in a long itinerary of hatred and violence which has brought about the death of almost 60 people and thousands of injured. It is also a paradoxical situation because, on the one hand, a great feast was being celebrated, the move of the embassy, and on the other, a tragedy, a massacre. It is a snapshot which depicts well this paradoxical and tragic situation, betraying enormous alienation and the distance existing between the parties in this terrible and unending conflict.
Enorme lontananza e distanza che c'è in questo terribile e interminabile conflitto.
We ask that the parties involved avoid the use of violence, the communiqué to the Catholic ordinaries in the Holy Land published on the 15th of March 2018 reads, "As the Vatican has stated more than once, the Holy City," the communiqué continues, "must be open to all peoples. It is the religious heart of the three monotheistic religions. Any unilateral move on Jerusalem does not contribute to the progress of peace. Dialogue between the two sides, Israeli and Palestinian, has been lacking for a long time already. We may say that the lack of dialogue, the deep mistrust which has come about between the two parties, hatred and recrimination have all once again become a violent act. Unfortunately, I do not believe this is over." According to the Apostolic Administrator, dialogue remains, however, the fundamental tool in order to diffuse hatred and violence, in order to build the peace that we all evoke and search for.
Dobbiamo nominarla.
We should evoke it. However, we need to diffuse that blanket of rhetoric and mistrust existing around this word and bring it back to its real context. For us as believers, peace cannot be separate from what Jesus has done precisely here in Jerusalem. As a church, we have decided to pray at this time of preparation to Pentecost, to pray and fast for peace. Next Saturday, along with the diocese, we shall hold a prayer vigil for peace. Uniting in prayer for the Holy Land, for the peace of all its inhabitants, for peace in Jerusalem, for all the victims of this unending conflict, for the conversion of everyone. This is the appeal of Monsignor Pizzaballa to the Christian community. For some years now, the ecclesial community in Jerusalem has seen the significant presence of thousands of foreigners in the celebrations of the life of the Church. They come from the Philippines, India, Senegal, and many other countries. Over time, a pastoral service for these groups was born, and in April, the Apostolic Administrator of Jerusalem, Monsignor Pier Battista Pizzaballa, announced the creation of a personal parish. The coordination for the pastoral care of migrants and refugees becomes an episcopal vicariate for migrants and refugees.
I think the Pope is helping us to understand that those people who come are our brothers, are really our brothers, even if they are here for a few years, only that we have to welcome them, we have to help integrate them, and also for the asylum seekers, many of them cannot go back home. So we have really to help them find their place. This is the mission of the church.
The current coordinator of the pastoral care for migrants explains what a personal parish means. According to the Code of Canon Law, it is a term used to designate a specific parish identified amongst other things by rite, language and nationality.
It is not a territorial parish. Normally parishes are parishes for a certain territory. There is a parish in Jaffa, a parish in Jerusalem, a parish in Ramle. This is not a territorial parish. This is called a personal parish that concerns a type of people. And for us, it will be the migrants. All those who are in a condition of migrants or asylum seekers belong to this parish, so they can come, they are welcomed, and those who work with them know well what is their condition and how to help them in a specific way.
Under this specific profile, we identify migrant men and women who have left their country due to financial difficulties or to escape wars and dictatorships. At this time, they have no guarantee regarding their future in Israel, but the objective of the vicariate is to continue to strengthen the services offered by the pastoral care for migrants.
Our work is perhaps more especially with the children and the youth. Children and youth, because they are very, very fragile. So we have daycares for the babies. We have after-school programs for children between 4 and 12 years old. We have also for those who live in Israel, so the Hebrew-speaking children, we have a catechism in Hebrew, and then we have a program for youth also. The youth, there is in Tel Aviv a group of youth that exists that we try to keep them, to draw them to the church, because they live in very difficult quarters. In the South Tel Aviv, there are drugs, there is prostitution, great poverty. So we try to protect those young people to keep them in the church.
The date of the canonical institution of the personal parish is on the 20th of May, the solemnity of Pentecost. An episcopal vicar will also be nominated in order to structure its functioning. One thing is certain, from this date it will be easier to accompany the faithful or administer baptism and matrimony. For the local church, this is a crucial step forward in supporting the life of faith of migrants. In his message on the 52nd World Day for Social Communications, Pope Francis observes that in order to be faithful to the project of God, communication must become a space for the construction of what is good. Today, however, we witness the phenomenon of fake news, which takes on great visibility. Clearly, all journalists, precisely because they are providing a service which requires the ability to delve deep and to critique, cannot make do with a superficial opinion nor facts at face value. Truth always requires an effort in research, whether this is a life path or simply the checking of sources. It is fundamental that a journalist understands his or her service as one promoting truth. The Pope proposes a journalism of peace, which, the Pontiff underlines, is not do-goodism. This is a topical reflection even for the media of the Holy Land. In his message, the Pope states that this does not mean to promote do-goodism or to instrumentalize what is good. To offer good news means to foster hope, and in the case of the Holy Land, I would say that this is crucially important. Negative news, so to speak, including true news, is already very much on offer in abundance by all other media. Actually, this is probably the only news on offer. Among the means of communication of Custos, the Terra Santa News, the website and the Christian Media Center, which communicate daily and show the world the beauty of the land of the fifth gospel. As journalists, we need to concentrate on topic and news which serve peace. In his call to foster a journalism of peace, Pope Francis reflects on a very deep vision of news and the role undertaken by journalists. All this is born out of his deep concern for the suffering of human beings caused by persecutions, and at a time of increasing tyranny and phenomena of intolerance and extremism.
O Christian Media Center, ele nasceu com o objetivo de...
The Christian Media Center is born with the aim of narrating and announcing the good news of the gospel and what happens here. Therefore, as well as conflict, fear, and insecurity, there is a beauty which needs to be shown. There is life in the Holy Land. As Monsignor Pierbattista Pizzaballa, Custos of the Holy Land in 2008, said in the year he undertook this brave initiative of founding the Christian Media Center, we are here to tell a different story. That of the beauty of shrines with pilgrims from all over the world, the challenges in ecumenism and interreligious dialogue. It is a different story, and sometimes it is drowned out by all the negative events taking place.
Nasceu para contar uma outra história.
In exact juxtaposition to fake news or the spreading of what is only negative and violent content, journalism can be a tool for peace and a sign of hope.
Credo che sia importante per alimentare la speranza che noi mettiamo in luce anche delle notizie che riguardano fatti.
I believe it is crucial in order to foster hope that we shine light even on very small items of news which may be marginal to the mainstream media, but which for us can be an indication of possible dialogue. They may represent a bridge we build as proof that peace can be erected not only in theory, but through small actions and daily choices.
La pace si costruisce non in teoria, ma attraverso anche piccoli gesti e piccole scelte quotidiane.
The Women of Faith for Peace project was born in 2009, when a group formed by 8 women belonging to different religions met in Trent, Italy, with the intent to tear down the walls of prejudice and discover a path of dialogue and unity.
From then on, we began to get calls from all over the world to go and witness and pray for peace.
One of the founders of this project talks to us about some poignant moments in its almost 10 years of history.
Il primo incontro pubblico a Gerusalemme nel 2014 è stato molto intenso perché era...
The first public meeting in Jerusalem in 2014 was very intense because it was the first time these women stepped out publicly. After that, we met women in grave difficulty in Colombia, in Ethiopia, and Eritrea. We found other women engaged for peace. And even in Bosnia, a few years ago, our group gave its contribution in prayer to bring back hope and to state that unity is possible.
Dove il gruppo darà il suo contributo di preghiera e di scambio per darsi speranza, ecco, vogliamo portare speranza e dire vivere insieme è possibile.
And recently the group carried out a great initiative for peace in Syria at the Campana dei Combattenti site in Rovereto in the north of Italy.
La campana dei caduti è una campana, è la campana più grande del mondo, è stata costruita con le...
This is the site of the largest bell in the world, built with the cannons of the First World War by a priest. It is made to sound 100 times on very special occasions. This is where we prayed together. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. We prayed to God so He may enlighten world leaders and end what is happening in Syria. After that, the bell began. This was perhaps one of the most intense moments of our history as an organization.
In Siria. E poi la campana ha iniziato a suonare. È stato forse il momento più forte di tutta la nostra storia.
Today the project spans the 5 continents and continues to promote respect, tolerance and peaceful coexistence.
One day a woman said, "My family is in Gaza," and another said, "My son is in the army and he is fighting in the Gaza Strip." But even so, despite these differences, we are here together. We must be signs of hope.
Eppure noi siamo qui insieme. Dobbiamo essere segno di speranza.
In his small studio, no more than a few square meters, graphic artist Shehab Kawasmi is surrounded by a number of expressive works produced throughout his 40-year career in Jerusalem.
للرسم، شعرت إنه عندي ميول كتير للرسم.
This talent first appeared at primary school. That was when I took up painting as a hobby. This then continued into higher education, and finally I decided to enroll at the House of Artists in West Jerusalem. It is linked with the Art and Design Academy of Bezalel at the Hebrew University. Then I got an art scholarship in France and Austria, where I had a chance to continue developing my potential. I specialize in the city of Jerusalem. I have attempted to represent how it appeared in ancient times rather than today, trying to focus on historical and religious sites, both Islamic and Christian, as well as on the most eminent architectural features of the city. Shehab Kawasmi's paintings often are inspired by original photography first generated by Armenian photographers. These were the first to undertake this profession in Palestine. Kawasmi uses a pencil in most of his works, which marries up different styles in order to confer maximum realism to his subjects. His latest publication, the book Kan Yama Kan, Once Upon a Time, Jerusalem 100 Years Ago, collects 70 works. Each is completed by a blurb in English and Arabic.
هي قضية الرسم الأسود والأبيض. أنا لقيت.
I found myself drawing in pencil almost by accident. I don't have a large studio which would be necessary to paint in color. What encouraged me towards a pencil technique was the idea of producing a documentary book on Jerusalem as it appeared 150 years ago. My desire was to start from pre-existing paintings inspired by the past and to integrate them with the same places as they appear today. Kawasmi's works, therefore, are not just limited to pencil drawings. They range from watercolor to oil painting and include digital integration techniques, which means superimposing old and new images as he attempts to display the transformations which happened throughout the years. This gives the viewer not only a picture of the time, but an outlook on the history of the city.